Yeah. Have I gone through and talked through segmentation before? The Xbox example, the Parker Pen example?
Yeah.
We have done that before. So we have actually touched on the topic of market segmentation before. So as Jodie rightly said, it's the group of people that are being targeted by a business. So remember we talked about how the main competitors of Xbox, yeah, PS3, Apple, Windows, what have you, but it's also competing for your free time. It might be competing for, it could be the cinema, it could be the pub, it could be the competitors. So it's really, really important that as a business, you clarify who your target market is and what the characteristics of that target market are. So market segmentation is all about breaking down the population. Because bear in mind that you've got one product, but you can market it in completely different ways, depending on the magazine it's been put in, so that the end user basically. You think about the same product being advertised in one magazine might focus on its price, but in another magazine might focus on its quality. So you need to think about who are you targeting at and what are the characteristics of that group. So that's the key concept underlying market segmentation. The best way to think about this is it is like an orange. So it's just splitting down your segments. And the analogy continues to the fact that not every segment's the same size. So you're going to have some segments that are 50% maybe of your whole target audience, but then some segments are 5%, 10%. But it's how do you actually define the characteristics of that segment, what we're going to look at today. So what makes up the composition of that 25%, of that 50%? So how are we different? How might you, this isn't a rhetorical question by the way, how might you segment your market?
Age.
Yeah, okay. I don't know if this is going to let me write on the boards. It doesn't normally. No, I don't think so. So yeah, if you write these down as we're going along, because the board doesn't work in the interactiveness of the board doesn't work in here. So the big one, that the way people segment, the way businesses segment is definitely age. What else? Yeah, gender. How else are we different?
For our wants and needs.
Yeah. Okay, definitely. So so when you say wants and needs, so would that be kind of what you're using it for? Do you mean?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Or what do you actually need it for? Because you know when we were saying yesterday, you don't necessarily need your Sky, but you want your Sky.
Yeah.
So
that's what you.
Individual.
Yeah. So how much you need it and what you're using it for. Daisy, what are you doing?
Okay.
You looking at?
So what for?
Laughing, which puts me off when people are laughing. I don't know. I don't know if it's that funny. Market segmentation just kind of throws me a little bit.
How much you use it?
Yeah, definitely. How many times you use it? Definitely. Usage rates. I think what we're kind of touching on is the reason for purchase. So as we've said before, you're buying a coat because it's cold, or you're buying a coat because it's a fashion statement. You need to know that reason, because your marketing campaign is going to be completely different based on the reason for purchase. How else are we different? Berthin, you're laughing. How else are we different?
Race.
Yeah.
Beliefs.
Race, beliefs. Go on, Berthin, give us one more. Culture, yeah. Race, beliefs, religion, culture. It's that kind of umbrella, isn't it? That kind of bubble. Race, religion, beliefs, culture. So you need to know the makeup of your market segment. So for example, McDonald's, are they going to sell Big Macs in India?
No.
Why not?
It's not a lot of people
meat,
eat.
isn't it?
Because not
like beef.
Oh.
Is it beef?
Cow is the sacred animal, isn't it? Exactly. So why would you sell that in India? You wouldn't, would you? Because you bet that's maybe
bacon,
an obvious one.
Bacon McMuffins in Muslim countries because they don't eat bacon, do they?
Well, there you go. These are quite obvious, maybe obvious examples, but there have been huge mistakes before in terms of culture. I think we've talked about the colour theory and what one colour can mean in one country, hugely different to what it can mean in another. Colour red can again love, anger, it can mean huge different things dependent on that country. How else are we different? How am I different from you?
Skills.
Skills, jobs,
Status.
all these things, all these things. Students or not student,
Employees and employees.
yeah, employer and employees, self-employed, income levels is a huge one. You can split the segment down as much as you want. The short answer is you can split the segment down as much as you want to. Because you could be targeting 18 to 20-year-old female Muslim students in Portsmouth, if you want to. So what you're doing is you're grabbing different characteristics. One that I just mentioned there also, a big one, is location. Companies segment their market geographically. What we've got are some subheadings, some kind of the main terms, the way that businesses will classify the different methods of segmentation. And we've pretty much, pretty much got them. So geographical, fairly obvious one. Location. So you're going to get local businesses are going to probably target the surrounding area. Because maybe there's no point in advertising for a window cleaner in Pompey, advertising in London. Because they've got to get there. So it's not worthwhile. So they're segmenting their market and they're focusing on a particular region. Demographic is pretty much all those things you've got written down. So anything to do with age, gender, how many kids you've got, what animals you've got, hair colour, it could be any of those things. You can really break it down as far as you want to go. Geodemographic, well, that's like the example I gave there, is combining them both. So we're going to target 25 to 30-year-old men that work in the primary sector in Hampshire, maybe. Because what you do is, if you identify that as your main target market, your marketing campaign is going to be different because of that. So your use of slogans, your use of colour, is all going to be based on the research you've done on what that target market wants, or what that target market responds to. Psychographic, beliefs, attitudes and opinions. So that's where maybe your ethics comes into it. Your race, your religion, your culture. All that comes under psychographic. And then it's just behaviour. So what are you doing? What are you using it for? End use, benefits sought, usage rates. So that's market segmentation. Bearing in mind though, this is market segmentation from a business to a consumer. So what you're going to do in a second is pick 4 examples and explain what market segmentation is, then give 4 examples of how a business would segment the market. So I've kind of talked through a few as we've gone through this. Before you do that, what I want to do is talk through the other version of segmentation, which is business to business. Okay? So when we say, go on. Business to consumer. So you've got, it's known as B2C or B2B, business to consumer. Most transactions are done business to consumer. It's just literally a business selling something to a consumer. You know, Dixon selling something to me, business to consumer. Business to business, well that's Amazon selling something to Highbury College. Is there any such thing as consumer to consumer?
Yeah.
eBay.
eBay. Although there are a lot of shops on there now, but it's peer to peer, isn't it? It's consumer to consumer, like me selling you something via eBay. Okay, business to business. The same ideas are there. The same ideas are there because it's thinking about what type of business are we targeting. So in terms of size, region and value. So if we are a huge company, so I don't know, Coca-Cola, are they really going to start and try and target a newsagents? Dave, do you think? Were Coca-Cola going to target their marketing campaign at newsagents?
No. Yeah.
You reckon, yeah? Why yes?
Because they sell clothes in every newsagent.
Okay.
Real deals and stuff, don't you?
Who does the newsagents buy the? Does the newsagents buy the Coke from Coca-Cola?
Oh, probably
Wholesale.
not.
So do you think Coca-Cola are going to target newsagents?
No.
Business
Wholesalers.
They're not going to. Coca-Cola, think of the size of that business. They're going to be targeting big companies, aren't they? They're going to be targeting Burger King, Wetherspoons, theme parks, where there's a huge amount of sales. That's going to be their target market, isn't it? Same with region. Coca-Cola's worldwide, so they're going to target pretty much every region globally. But if you're a smaller business, can you afford to target businesses all over the place? Is it going to make it worthwhile to distribute your product to Scotland? Or could a Scottish company just trade with a Scottish company? And that saves a huge amount of cost. Same with value. Going back to that first example, Coca-Cola, why would they bother selling a couple of crates of Coke to your local corner shop? It's worthless to them, isn't it? But yet, to a small sole trader, a couple of crates of a drink or food, saying it may be worthwhile. So it depends on the size of your business and the size of the business that you're targeting, the value of your business and the value of the business that you're targeting. And that obviously links into the sector. What is the public sector, Deepa? Public sector. Run by the government. So the private sector is what, Zoe? Does it have to be owned by one person in the private sector? Up to 20. So does it, what I think you're getting at is the private sector is any type of business owned by an individual or company, remember. So under the private sector, that's your sole trader partnership, PLC and LTD. That feels like ages ago we covered that. That feels like a lifetime ago. It was only the beginning, it was only September, October, wasn't it? What we've got here, just something to be aware of, a DMU is a decision-making unit. Okay? So it's the unit within the business that makes a decision of who to target. So a business targeting individuals would have a business decision-making unit. A business targeting a business would have a decision-making unit. Don't worry too much about the points here. You just need to be aware that these have to be considered. So if you are trading globally, well then how secure is your supply? Is it worthwhile? Is it worthwhile to trade with that newsagents? Well, no, because the cost benefit isn't there, the revenue benefit isn't there. So these here are the kind of the factors that the company consider when looking at who to trade with. Okay, so remember, business to business and business to consumer. There's your psychographic, your demographic, your geodemographic, your behaviour. Okay. Right, what you need to do then is explain what market segmentation is, just a general introduction, like you do with most of your pieces of work. Then identify how businesses segment the market. So I need 4 examples. Okay. Then, and the best way to do it is explain maybe a key term. So I don't know, explain geographic is, and then give an example, like a local window cleaner wouldn't target Mongolia because, I don't know Mongolia. Then you need to pick 2 examples from business to business. So going on past experience, this piece of work normally looks like an introduction, then six kind of mini paragraphs.
Sorry, was that 4?
4 business to consumer,
Yeah,
and 2 business to business. Yeah. So as we said before, the pass criteria aren't equal. This isn't a massive one, and all that is P5. So we can hopefully.
Harvard College though, doesn't it?
Pardon?
Doesn't it say got to refer to
Let me-
Harvard College?
Check this on. Yeah, it does. I mean, that's going to be really tough to do. I don't think last year, I'm trying to remember.
I haven't meant to relate.
Yeah, I know.
Business to business.
Well, I mean,
Should this relate to Apple at normal?
yeah, there's going to be, yeah, it's not going to be doable with hybrid. We definitely didn't use hybrid last year. So just do it with just different examples from business. Because you can do it from hybrid, business to business. So, you know, we target, I don't know, we'd run courses in HR for local businesses. You know, or you need to know a bit more about hybrid. There's no need, that's not what the question's all about. So just do it in general for businesses.
Okay.
And just try and think of as many different examples as you can. And I'll just change this.